In this video, I'm going to review with you some equations and functions that deal with date and time. So let's get started. What I have here in column A are the different equations that I'm going to review with you and their embedded functions. Column B is the output when you use these equations. And D and E I will talk later. This has to do with explaining and understanding how date value and time value works. But we'll come to these later. So let's run through these. This first output here is just using a function to the left. You want to know what today's date is. Just type that in and you will get this output. The next one, we want to know the last day of the month. For this, you need a reference day, and the reference day is today. You also need to know how many months from the current month you want to get the end date. So in this case, we want to look at 0 months away from the current month. So we want to get the last day of this month. The next one is looking at 1 month later. The last day, instead of February, it's March, and then April. So very similar to the last function, the EOMONTH function, the EDATE function is looking at a certain number of months after the current date. So in this case, we're looking at 0 months after the current date. So essentially, this output is exactly the same as today, as this, because we're looking at no months after, 0 months after. So it's the same as today. The next one, you're looking at 1 month later, 2 months later, and 3 months later. Now, what you would notice with these three is that the day is staying the same. It's always the 3rd, but the month is changing. February, March, April, May. The next function, we want to calculate how many work days there are between two dates. So you have your starting date, which is referenced to today, and then you have your end date, which is referenced to 60 days after today. So I'm going to just highlight those. Here's your starting, and here's your ending. So your ending day is April the 4th. The next one, returning the output of the current date and time. And the time includes seconds. So you have your day, your month, your year, your hour, your minutes, and your seconds. The next function, taking the values from the previous function and spitting out only the month. The next one is spitting out only the day. The next one is the year. The next one is the hour. The next, the minute. The next is the second. Now you can imagine with these outputs here, these functions that are given these outputs, they're using the current time as the reference time. But you can change that to anything. So instead of putting in now here, I can put in a specific date. Okay, and then it will spit that out. So you can see if I put in December 31st, 2024, it's going to return 12. This function calculates the date after a certain number of work days, not including weekends and holidays. So today is Thursday, and we want 2 working days after Thursday. Friday the 4th, then Saturday will be the 5th, Sunday will be the 6th, and Monday is going to be the 7th. So essentially, we're going to have Friday and Monday as the working days. It's going to return the 7th. This equation gives you the date value of today's date. I'm going to explain how this worked later, but that's the number that's going to spit out. And as a reference, you can see I've taken this number and plugged it in right here. But we'll come back to that later. Same idea here, but this is given a time value. Now, for the time value, in a given day, the time value ranges from 0 to 1. So 0 and 1 occur at the same time, but 24 hours later. So they both occur at 12 a.m. At 12 a.m., it's 0. Halfway through the day, time value of 0.5 is 12 p.m. So let's go up here and understand time values a little bit more. Okay? So I have 12 a.m., 6 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 p.m., and then 12 a.m. again. I'm going to copy these and I'm going to paste them here. In order to get the time value, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here. I'm going to say number. Here are the time values. So it's going to take this time and convert it into time values. And you can see 12 a.m. is 0. 6 a.m. is a quarter through the day. It's 0.25. 12 p.m. is 0.5. 6 p.m. is 0.75. And 12 a.m. is 1. Excellent. So these are date values, and here's today. Let's understand how this works. So what is the date of a value of 0? So I'm going to copy these. I'm going to paste them over here, and then I'm going to convert it to date. The date value of 0 is December 30, 1899. Why this date? Well, it turns out that it has something to do with this old spreadsheet program called Lotus 123. Now, I remember when I was in high school, Lotus 1 through 3 was sort of the hot shit. It's since obsolete. Of course, Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets have replaced it. That's just how it is. So it's 1899 December 30th is ground zero for date value. If I add 1 to that, it's just 1 day later. 2 is 2 days later. 3 is 3 days later, etc. So 10 is 10 days. 100 is 100 days after. And then when we come to 44,599, we come to our date. So to prove this, I can take this and divide it by 365.25, 122 years. So if I take 2022 and I subtract 122 from it, do I come up to 1899? And the answer is yes. I have to take into account that this is a decimal value. It comes out to about that much. It's around 1900. So that's pretty much it. Thank you.